Okay, so I wanted today to talk about calories. And you will have heard me before talk about calories being not the end all and be all. I talked before about calories in versus calories out. That approach solely will not work. And again, I looked at the three fundamental flaws of that approach. So, first of all, it just ignores the endocrine system, so how our hormones affect the body. So we talked a lot about things like insulin being that storage and that anabolic, that storage hormone to make us bigger, versus things like glucagon or adrenaline, which is about oxidating, burning, breaking down, making us smaller. So hormones really affect our size. Blood sugar affects our hunger, how our blood sugar is concentrated. Once it's high, the concentration of blood sugar is high. Then it links into the insulin story, but then the blood sugar will drop very low and we'll become hungry. So we are not only sometimes we're psychologically and emotionally hungry, but we're biologically hungry, so we have to eat. So it ignores that. And it also, key one as well, it loses the idea of the metabolic rate. Because if you just reduce your calories all the time, actually that in itself is fine if you live for the rest of your life like that. Eating less is kind of a good thing in terms of longevity and stuff. However, in modern life, we are never really short of food for any sustained period of time. We've got supermarkets, we've got restaurants, we've got food on the go. So, so what happens is I mentioned before, you might get down to an area where you consume 1,000 calories a day. You live off that well, which is great, but your metabolic rate will slow to that level. And then the day that you consume the 2,000 calories, you can't metabolize it quickly, so you end up gaining weight. So that's the flaws of just thinking about what they call thermodynamics, calories in versus calories out. But obviously, it's not completely irrelevant. It doesn't mean you can eat whatever calories you want at all times. Obviously, that there is at some point a logic to it. It's just that calories is just a measurement of heat, so it's not exactly as you think it is. And I suppose the most important thing about this is the key is to move away from the idea of, especially this is to move away from the idea of 24 hours. So oftentimes you'll hear about 2,000 calories a day under, or for a man, or whatever. So that 24-hour fixation that people have on a calorie deficit thing, that is the problem. And the reason I highlight that is because you got to think about how the body was designed. For 99.9% of our existence, hunter and gatherers, we've been living on a famine and feast type of thing. So we might kill an elk, gorge on that, and then we might have to go 3 days without eating. That's why we survived. So that's we got to look to that. So the minimum time you want to think about your calorie impact is a week. That's if you think about that idea, especially famine and feast and how we're designed. Don't think about what happens in one day. Don't think about that. Think about more longer if you can, but certainly a week is the minimum time you want to think about your pattern. And really, that's only to protect huge overeating. But once you're low carbohydrate, so you don't have those huge insulin spikes and the blood sugar ups and downs, you'll find your appetite is much more under control. Your appetite will be much more fine-tuned as well by your intermittent fasting, and then your ghrelin, your appetite hormone sensor becomes much more improved, and your appetite becomes more real as opposed to what's imposed to us on marketing and just access to everything all the time. You will find your appetite is much more under control. So I don't ever count calories anymore, but what you may be in a situation is you will find hopefully that yes, your appetite is under control, but if you do still want to track them, do not track them in a 24-hour period. Irrelevant. Maybe then think about how your week looks. And if you're throwing an intermittent fast, if you're throwing one 24-hour fast or one intermittent fast, that would in itself take care of a calorie restricted approach anyway, if that makes sense. But you can intermittent fast regularly. So that's just my message. Forget the 24-hour idea. Think about minimum 7 days if you're looking at your calorie impact. Okay, thank you.